Three stories, three mysteries that no one can explain. Everything was completely normal for the Skee family, until that night arrived. The Skee family, John, Sarah, and their 5-year-old son Liam, lived in a lovely home in the suburbs. John worked at the local factory, Sarah was an elementary school teacher, and Liam, like any other 5-year-old, loved playing and drawing. But on a cold autumn night in October 2015, everything changed. Liam started waking up frequently in the middle of the night. He talked about a tall black man standing in his room. At first, his parents thought it was just a child's imagination. But then, Liam began describing details that a 5-year-old could never know. He spoke of red eyes and long hands with stretched fingers. Of a rustling sound like tearing paper that only he could hear. Sarah, who as a teacher was always logical, started writing these descriptions down. Every night, Liam revealed more details. He said this entity called itself Mr. Shadow and claimed it had always been here. After 2 weeks, stranger things happened. Weird noises came from the attic room, doors closed by themselves, and household items moved around. John, a practical man, installed security cameras throughout the house. At first, nothing unusual was recorded. But then, on the third night, the living room camera captured a tall, unnatural shadow passing through the wall. A shadow that defied physics. A shadow that could change its shape and move like smoke. The events continued. The noises grew louder every night. Now not just Liam, but John and Sarah could hear strange whispers from the attic. Sometimes they heard a woman crying, other times the sound of a child running in the hallways. Liam had changed during the day too. He often stared silently at the walls, talking to someone nobody could see. When asked who he was talking to, he'd say, with Mr. Shadow's other children too, but the most terrifying part was yet to come. One night, while checking the cameras, Sarah noticed movement in Liam's room. When she reviewed the footage, she saw a scene she would never forget. A dark shadow stood beside Liam's bed, its hand on the boy's forehead. And while Liam slept, the shadow was talking to him. But the voice was something the camera couldn't record, and then the final night arrived. On the night of October 31st, Liam woke up with completely black eyes and said in a voice that wasn't his, "He says the time has come. I must go live with them." Terrified, John and Sarah grabbed essential bags and fled the house that very night. The Skee family left the house forever just 48 hours after this incident. They abandoned everything behind, clothes, belongings, even Liam's favorite toys. The house remains empty to this day. But neighbors swear they sometimes see a tall shadow in the second-floor windows, and if you get too close, you can hear a soft whisper, a voice that says, "I'm waiting for a new family." A passenger who was on every journey, but nobody ever saw him. On a stormy night, along the legendary Route 66, an ordinary family was driving a 1973 Chevrolet Impala. But that night would be their last journey. This car is still locked in a secret garage in Arizona today, because anyone who rides it meets a terrible fate. It all started in October 1998. The Johnson family, Mike, Ellen, and their 8-year-old son Tommy, were driving from Chicago to Los Angeles. At 2:17 a.m., the rain was pouring down. Suddenly, the headlights revealed a tall woman in white standing in the middle of the road. Mike slammed the brakes. But when he got out of the car, no one was there. From that night on, strange things started happening. The back seat would heat up by itself. the radio would turn on automatically, locked on an old jazz station, and little Tommy talked about a lady in white sitting in the back seat. The California Highway Police opened case number H98-724, but when officers examined the vehicle, they found something that made their blood run cold. In the back seat, they found 3 long white hairs, even though all Johnsons had brown hair, and under the driver's seat, an old silver bracelet with the name Elizabeth 1949 engraved on it. The Johnson family disappeared after 72 hours. Their car was found by the roadside, the engine was still running, the doors were open, but there was no trace of them. But the story didn't end there. In 2007, another family bought the same car from an auction, and exactly 3 days later, they also disappeared. Today, this car is locked in a secret garage. The guards say its lights turn on by themselves at night, and you can hear a woman singing an old song from inside. And by the way, if you ever drive on Route 66 at night, you might see that silver Chevrolet Impala, and if you look carefully, in the rearview mirror, you'll see the face of a woman in white sitting behind you. Sometimes a simple toy can become a gateway to hell. This is the true story of Annabelle, a doll that is neither fiction nor legend. It all started in 1970. When 2 young nurses named Donna and Angie bought an old cloth doll from an antique store, they didn't know what they were bringing home. They just thought it was a harmless doll. But after a few weeks, strange things began to happen. The doll moved on its own, small handwritten notes appeared all over the apartment, in childlike handwriting that said, "Help me," and then, one night Donna woke up and saw Annabelle sitting on her bed, with its hands wrapped around her neck. Donna and Angie asked for help from paranormal experts, Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens confirmed that a demonic spirit had inhabited the doll, and that Annabelle intended to possess Donna's soul. But the most terrifying part came when a group of boys from the church took photos of the doll, and when the photos were developed, they showed Annabelle soaked in blood instead of cloth. But the story didn't end there. After the Warrens' investigation, they decided to take the doll to their home. On the way back, their car experienced one of the worst accidents. The tires mysteriously blew out, and the brakes failed. When they finally reached home, worse events awaited. Strange sounds came from the room where the doll was kept, and a priest who came to bless the house was suddenly attacked, with deep claw marks appearing on his chest. And this was only the beginning of the nightmare. In the following weeks, even scarier events occurred. Books flew off shelves by themselves, crying sounds could be heard from the doll's room, crosses turned upside down, and the smell of sulfur filled the house, the incident that changed everything. One night, a friend of the Warrens who had come to their house was left alone with the doll. When the Warrens returned, they found him severely injured, claiming the doll had attacked him. Doctors said these wounds couldn't have been caused by a cloth doll. These wounds were made by a living creature. Today, Annabelle is kept in a locked glass case at the Warren Museum in Connecticut. Museum staff report that sometimes, scratching sounds can be heard from inside the case, and the doll moves on its own, and sometimes, on certain nights, a child's crying can be heard from inside the case. If you ever visit that museum, look at the glass case. You might see Annabelle looking back at you, and perhaps, she's waiting for someone to open the case. Maybe she's waiting for you.